Hello, I'm Jed Roth. I'm with Purative, and we're here today in Orlando at the ACIM show, October 24th, 2015. And I'm here with Tyler LeBaron, the president of the Molecular Hydrogen Foundation, and he's been speaking at this event, and we wanted to get his feedback on some of the things he discussed and share with you today the power of active hydrogen, and particularly Active H2, our hydrogen product from Purative. So Tyler, how's the show going for you so far?
Well, it went well. Yesterday I gave a lecture on molecular hydrogen and its therapeutic potential and gave a brief overview on that. The feedback was great, and it's been enjoyable so far. A lot of interest.
Tell me, what are some of the real benefits of active hydrogen?
Active hydrogen, or molecular hydrogen, better said, it's a gas. It's a hydrogen gas, right? That's what they use for alternative fuel source. It's what you can make a balloon go up with. It's just a gas, and you can inhale the gas, or you can put it into water. I know you have tablets you can simply add to water, and it produces the hydrogen gas through a reaction. But basically, this hydrogen gas has been shown in many articles. There's over 600 peer-reviewed articles now that are showing the therapeutic benefits and its potential in about 150 different human and animal disease models, and essentially every organ of the human body. So some of the main things that hydrogen gas is showing is its ability to help mitigate or reduce oxidative stress. And there's a couple methods that it does that. One of them is via its direct radical scavenging activity. And it's actually acts more of a selective antioxidant, and it selectively reduces not all oxidants, not all radicals, because some radicals we need, but it selectively reduces the most cytotoxic ones, such as the hydroxyl radical. So that's one way it helps to mitigate this oxidative stress. And another method is by helping our bodies to maintain its own endogenous antioxidants like glutathione, superoxide dismutase, and other peptides or enzymes. And it also appears to have some cell modulating activities to help downregulate things like NADPH oxidase, which actually produces free radicals. So hydrogen has many, many effects. There are actually over 200 biomolecules that I have found as I reviewed the literature and whatnot, where hydrogen gas is able to increase or decrease these levels. And so it appears to have some sort of signal modulated activity similar to other gaseous acetylene molecules like carbon monoxide, for example, or hydrogen sulfide, and of course nitric oxide, which won the Nobel Prize.
So is it pretty easy for someone to take molecular hydrogen in a tablet form?
Yeah, I mean, of course, with your product, I know that it can be very simple. People can just drop it into the water and then wait for, 10 minutes, and then it dissolves, and then
Correct.
And then you can drink that. I mean, and you can, and I've done this too, verified. You can just test the hydrogen gas concentration with the redox reagent test kit.
And about how much hydrogen ends up in the water?
Well, it depends. There's on how long you let it dissolve for, how long the reaction occurs. I mean, you have around 55 milligrams of your active ingredient, and so stoichiometrically you could theoretically get near 8 ppm in a half a liter of water, but you're more likely going to see somewhere around 1 to 3 ppm, depending on how much headspace you have, depending on the source water, the container, how much gas is dissipated through the container, because hydrogen is the smallest molecule in the universe, right? So it's going to be able to get through those containers of those plastic bottles easier than anything. And so it's very difficult to contain hydrogen gas. And that, of course, speaks to its bioavailability, if you will. That's why it's able to diffuse into the cells, the mitochondria, the subcellular compartments, the blood-brain barrier, and where it can do its magic, if you will.
And what benefits would someone experience from taking molecular hydrogen?
Well, the benefits are enormous. But everybody is different. Some people may consume the molecular hydrogen and not really notice anything. It is more of a long-term thing to help mitigate oxidative stress, inflammation. However, many people I know have taken hydrogen and have noticed remarkable benefits literally within hours, maybe significantly less pain, significantly less inflammation. Many people who have brain problems, stroke, neurological disorders, those ones may tend to take, some weeks or whatnot. Again, not everyone is going to notice something, but that doesn't mean the hydrogen gas isn't doing something for them, because that's what hydrogen gas does, acting as has this antioxidant effect via reducing selectively these hydroxyl radicals or other cell modulating activities.
I see. The doctors we've worked with have had a lot of success with the Active H2 product. What would you recommend as sort of a way that they could introduce this to their patients and get the most benefit out of it?
Well, I guess the simplest thing is for them to understand that hydrogen gas, first off, is something very natural and very safe. There's a lot of cutting new ideas and theories out there. A lot of them may be extremely therapeutic. A lot of them may not work at all. But regardless, what is the safety? And when we consider hydrogen gas, the safety is very high. You and I were talking earlier, and I was explaining how they've used it in deep sea diving since the 1940s to prevent decompression sickness. So they've done tons of human studies and animal studies and tissue studies and organ studies and cell studies, and really there's no toxic effects that has been shown so far. So with that in mind, that something is very safe, and then of course the fact that there are literally hundreds of scientific articles and about 30 to 40 human studies showing these therapeutic benefits, it's something that I can certainly see every practitioner wanting to give to their patients and get them on hydrogen. It may have some synergistic benefits to help mitigate other drugs or chemotherapy drugs or other treatments or detoxification programs or whatnot that they may be on, because the hydrogen gas again helps to mitigate these inflammation markers, these pro-inflammatory cytokines, the excessive free radicals, and all the other cell modulating activities that it offers.
So if the person is taking prescriptions or other supplements, there's really no contraindication or reason they couldn't take Active H2?
So far, that's what the research suggests. And again, I mentioned the deep sea diving, but even more natural, more close to home than that is just the fact that we always have basal levels of hydrogen gas in our blood and in our breath. That is because every time we eat a meal, specifically a meal that contains fiber, something that's healthy for you, our intestinal bacteria will actually digest that fiber and produce hydrogen gas. And so we're always having that in our blood. We're always exposed to that all the time. So again, it's something very natural. So far, yeah, it appears that there's no real contraindication of taking hydrogen gas in conjunction with other supplements or regimens.
That's great. That's good. That's great. And what do you see? There's an opportunity to combine Active H2 with other products, other supplements to form new products as well, correct?
Yeah, again, I suppose that because there's no contraindication, there may be some synergism going on. I know there are a number of studies showing hydrogen gas can prevent the negative side effects of conventional chemotherapy drugs. For those patients who are choosing that route of chemotherapy, for example, which can be very damaging, hydrogen gas may help attenuate a lot of those negative side effects. And so in conjunction maybe with, like you said, other detoxification regimens that some of these practitioners put their patients on for whatever reason, they may have side effects that are not good for the body because it's so toxic, or whatever that they're doing, the supplements they're taking or the regimen they're on. Furthermore, the supplements that are designed to be therapeutic, hydrogen gas may enhance their efficacy via unknown mechanisms. Again, hydrogen research is extremely new. 2007 is really when the first main article came out in the Journal of Nature Medicine, and that spawned the biomedical research community. And now, of course, we have a number of universities around the world looking at this, including the ones here in the U.S., like the University of Loma Linda University and some other ones. But be that as it may, the point is we simply don't have a lot of data confirming or denying synergism between products. We do see that it does not appear to be a contraindication for anything, and because it's so natural, we have basal levels. I don't see a reason to say for people to not take it in conjunction with other supplements.
In your talk, you mentioned that NASA had used molecular hydrogen. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, they are looking into using molecular hydrogen or hydrogen-rich water, just taking making water with hydrogen gas in it, similar to your tablets, and they could use that to actually help protect the astronauts during space travel, because when you're in space, you get a lot of radiation. That radiation can be very damaging, creates lots of hydroxyl radicals and other oxidative stress, can be very damaging to your DNA, RNA, protein, cell membranes, and of course every disease can be linked to these free radicals. Of course, not all free radicals are bad, as we discussed. Hydrogen gas is a selective antioxidant, but the fact that the hydrogen gas can help attenuate this excessive amount of oxidative stress seems to be a very simple, safe, and easy method for the astronauts to use to potentially provide a protection for them.
We've heard you talk about its role as an antioxidant, but you also say that the molecular hydrogen reduces the body's output of oxidants. Describe that a little bit.
Well, in some scenarios, you can have various systems, complexes, enzymes, if you will, that are producing an excessive amount of free radicals, such as NADPH oxidase. And NADPH oxidase can reduce molecular oxygen by 1 electron to form the superoxide anion radical when that system is activated, and that oxide radical can then undergo something like the Fenton reaction and produce hydroxyl radicals that can be dismutated by superoxide dismutase to form hydrogen peroxide, which can then do other things. But the point is that system is just an example, produces these free radicals, and hydrogen gas appears to have the ability to downregulate this NADPH oxidase system and thus prevent this excess formation of these free radicals. And there's other studies, like preventing the superoxide formation in the hippocampus of mice who were under very stressful conditions and whatnot. This helped them. This has the suggestions towards the ability for hydrogen to help attenuate the cognitive decline that often happens with old age.
Talk a little bit about the role of molecular hydrogen in sports, both for recuperating effects and reducing trauma.
So again, more studies need to be done in this area. I know there are a lot of athletes, both elite and amateur, that are taking molecular hydrogen for sports improvement, sports recovery, sports conditioning, because they're seeing phenomenal results. There are a number of studies that are showing that hydrogen gas may mitigate the fatigue that is often seen with a strong exercise. Some of the studies are showing that there's actually a decrease in lactate or lactic acid, some people say, production. And the reason for that may be because hydrogen gas may be able to stimulate the mitochondria and help it work better, function better. And if you have a better working mitochondria, then that pyruvate that is produced via glycolysis upon the metabolism of glucose, that it gets shuttled into the mitochondria, acetyl-CoA, as opposed to be converted to lactate. And so that suggests that maybe the mitochondria is working a little bit better. And there's some other studies, there's one from traumatic brain injury, for example, that with these compromised mitochondria, hydrogen gas is able to upregulate the various complexes in the mitochondria, complex 1, 2, 3, and 4, and these complexes are important to making what's called the proton gradient and then subsequently ATP production, and the study did show that there was an increased amount of ATP production. And ATP, of course, that is the energy currency of the cells, and that's what athletes and everyone need is this ATP. And so the ability for hydrogen gas to stimulate the mitochondria, help with ATP production, to all of these methods and many others, including the reduction of oxidative stress, may all help the athlete both in performance and in recovery. But again, more studies need to be done, but at least the anecdotal reports thus far have been quite remarkable.